Why did I want to do this? Because the idea to me is just so compelling because it is this total convergence of sound and image. I think this is like the full expression of the album is to be listened to through, you know, the LP speaker. I'm going to go through the process of making LP speakers, which is a jacket for a record with album art that transforms the entire thing into a speaker that you can listen to the album through. Like a year ago, I finally learned how to make a speaker, which was like super simple. Like you just take a power drill, you take magnet wire, you wind it together, you glue it to the bottom of a cup, and voila, you have like a relatively powerful speaker. So I was like, how else can I like manifest this flat speaker? So I took conductive thread and I used an embroiderer and I embroidered conductive thread in a spiral on jeans, and then I made fabric speakers. They weren't super loud, but they still worked. So now we have our first layer of copper. All right, let's go to the vinyl cutter. And I was also working with this woman, Jenny Graff, who teaches in Copenhagen. I went over there last year, and that's when I figured out that you can render images like in a spiral. And I was like, oh my God, like sky's the limit with this kind of like concept. Okay, take this out. Wow, it's kind of as close to perfect as you can get it. All right, so now let's get to this thing called weeding. It takes so much like hand work and like focus, but also it's like I spent that much time and put that much love into like the recording and the arranging of like the piece too. So it's like hard for me to feel like, okay, I invested all of myself into this piece and then I'm just gonna like let this industrial process like take care of the rest of it. So I just can't help myself. I want this coil to be the equivalent of an 8-ohm speaker. That means I have to measure the impedance across the coil, 8 ohms, boom. And you were talking about this earlier about like how my process is like really enjoying the process and like the product at the end is kind of like an afterthought, right? So it's like when I'm making these, I can't help but to make variations, divergences in the way that they're completed. They're all kind of tuned a little differently. It's a little wonky, but that's kind of like why I like performing, because like every performance is like a sort of one-off, right? And this is why I'm much more of an improvisational performer than a composer, because a composer, you have a piece and you make it portable and you want to present the same piece irrespective of the location, right? In this way, I'm taking a composition that is a recording and I'm having it be object and site specific wherever it goes. Whoever owns this particular cover is going to get a unique presentation and expression of the album itself. This is actually going to be the mirror image of the copper pattern that we cut out. Okay, this is going to be cooking for like 7 minutes. Okay, so that's my headlamp. It's going to make weeding a little easier to do. I definitely find this process to be pretty meditative. People, like, the reason why they buy an LP, right, nowadays is to also have the tactility of it. And so it's like, how can you objectify sound in this way? And I think that this LP speaker cover is like the perfect way to do it. Now I gotta figure out where I want it. See, you get a moire pattern depending on placement. I'm gonna take the speaker wire, clamp them into place, lower it onto the magnet, positioning it over the center of the coil. We're gonna turn our power amp on. So then let's listen to Hair Birth. I'm so surprised it hasn't been done before. This is like cavewoman technology. The idea when it dawned on me was like, whoa, this is just like kind of too perfect, like too integrated, too seamless of an idea, you know, to do. And yeah, it's just kind of also magical, right?